Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you may be in this wonderful world of ours. Happy Thursday, almost the weekend, a few more days, a few more hours before we get into the weekend. And welcome to the Hawk Report episode number 5. Yeah, I can't believe it. This has been, OOTP 24 has been out for over a month now. I think it came out on the 24th of March, if I remember correctly. And here we are with the Hawk Report episode number 5 with, again, another Gen X theme. Yes, we have another Gen X theme. This time, we're calling it OOTP 24 World. Yeah, we will get into the Wayne and the Garth talk a little bit later. But welcome in, guys. Glad to have you here, coming over, hopefully, from the DishNet stream. And if you missed it, if you missed the TWIP stream, it will be rebroadcast tonight at 9 p.m. Eastern. So again, they won't have the giveaway at 9 p.m. Eastern. That was only for the live broadcast this morning. But you can catch the replay of all the cards that were released later on, 9 o'clock Eastern, with DishNet once again. On the Hawk Report, if this is your first time here, YourKidnies and I have a lot of fun. We look at the previous week, some of the cards that have been released already. We look at today's set, the Future Legends set. We have our little Generation X versus the Zoomer showdown. And of course, the Kidneys Rant. Also, if you are new to OOTP, go check it out. Go check out OOTP on the web, ootpdevelopments.com. You can find all the information you're looking for there. You can even purchase the game there. OOTP on Steam, on the PC, on Mac. Lots of accessibility. And even you can head over to the OOTP forums and have all your questions answered by the OOTP team or by the community. Also, you can also pick up the hockey simulation version, Franchise Hockey Manager. And I hope at some point down the line, when we get to Franchise Hockey Manager 19 and 20, we will have a perfect team for hockey. As a Canadian, I love my hockey, and I'd be all over that, playing perfect team NHL. Stay tuned. If you did not win the 200, can you believe that? 200 packs. Wow. I hope I can get the winner of that on a stream. If the winner wants to contact me and do a pack ripping of those 200s and show off some of the cards that they won from the giveaway, contact me on Discord or send me a whisper in Twitch, because that would be pretty cool to have you rip open those 200 packs to see what OOTP gave you today. And I will give out packs too, not 200, but we will have 2 winners, one of 10 packs, one of 5 packs, as we always do at the end of the episode. So stay tuned to enter that. Don't enter now. That will be coming up a little bit later. But let's get to it. Lots to talk about. Over 50 cards released today. More coming with a part 2, I would imagine, with the Future Legends. So let's bring on our co-host today, the man whose parents probably thought about naming him Wayne. Welcome back to the stream, YourKidnies. Welcome back in, Kidneys. How are you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good. I'm kind of frantically going over all the new cards and trying to find the ones that were not shown on stream that were gems, because I think there's quite a lot of them. This appears to be a very, very strong set of Future Legend cards.
Yeah, really excited to go through some of them, but there's so many. And that's the thing about coming on right after DishNet presents them, is we're frantically, getting screenshots and going to the card shop because they've just been released. And with 54, 56, how many ever there were, that's a lot of a prep that you kind of have to do to kind of pick out the real gems of the set. So welcome in, Kidneys. Last time you were on, it was 420. Have you recovered from 420? And by 420, of course, I mean the Streamathon.
Of course,
the Streamathon.
It is. Yeah, the Streamathon was a lot of fun. Again, thank you to you for putting that together. I did cover the graveyard shift for those who missed it. It was, for me, an experience I will personally never forget, just from how tired I was after streaming to 6:30 in the morning. But no, it was a great time. I really enjoyed it. Hopefully we can do another sometime. That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah, and a big shout out to YourKidnies for, doing those late night shifts and even going further and continuing the streamathon without any gaps. We went from 1 p.m. Wednesday Eastern all the way, over a 3-day period. We covered some Wednesday, Thursday, and even into Friday. A big shout out to Ezra Denny, who filled in for not an affiliate yet, but filled in for one of the shifts, and also the commish who came in to close the game couldn't quite close the game, so we went extra innings, and DA 186 came in and went into early Friday morning. So big shout out to DA. Glad you could be part of the streamathon. I know work kind of got involved, but we got you in there in some extra innings. Again, thank you to OOTP Developments, to their partners, Com2 US, for providing us with the giveaways and with the prizes. And big shout out to OOTP for getting them all delivered within 24 hours. Wow. All the packs, all the game codes that were given out were all given out within 24 hours. So big thank you. And yeah, we will see when we went from 12 hours in the Christmas one to 36 hours here with 13 streamers, over 5,000 views. And who knows, maybe Kidneys, are you up for 100 hours? You think we can handle that?
Maybe if we get somebody to help me cover the graveyard shift, I would be rather excited about that.
We need a European streamer, don't we? We need a couple European streamers, because for them, that would be kind of peak time in the afternoon.
Yeah, I think that would be certainly a good solution. Get some of the European out of the park players in here and have them help out too. So. Yeah.
Well, again, Go's been out for a while now, and just kind of your opinion, Kidneys, about the Go app. I'm about a 50-50 kind of between the app and between the desktop version. Where are you with Go in terms of the utility? How much do you use it? Do you find anything more beneficial by using OOTP Go? Where do you stand on the app?
I'm not a big Go person, but I'm not a huge mobile gamer these days. I used to be a pretty big one, but a lot of the time I haven't reused it. I've heard it seems like it's been running real smooth this year, and a lot of people I know, of course, are a big fan of the app. So if you haven't had a chance to pick it up yet, it's free and lets you play Perfect Team wherever you want. So that's pretty awesome.
Yeah, allows you to play Perfect Team, allows you to play fictional leagues. Again, if you're in the airport, if you're on a plane, if you're on a long road trip, perfect time to kind of just play some random fictional leagues. Or I think they include, 3 historical leagues that you can play, 3 or 4 anyway. And you can purchase other seasons as well, but they do give you a good base to start with. And for so many users, I see in the comments here, so many users appreciate OOTP Go because they don't have to be sitting in front of their computer. All right, time for our icebreaker here, Kidney. And again, always like to kind of, talk about the generation gap and the fact that we think different. And again, I'm a Gen Xer, 60s to the early 80s. You're part of that Gen Z, the Zoomer kind of group, born with an iPad in the crib. And I was born with a black and white TV and the rabbit ears. I don't know how many people in the chat remember rabbit ears, where you put the little tin foil on and try and maneuver them around to get the proper signal. But Kidneys, thankfully, you did not have to go through that. And as you mentioned last week, you would not give up growing up in today's era to go back in time, because you would not want to give up some of the, luxuries, I guess we can call them, or some of the tech that we have today. So today, since we are kind of talking about 80s movies, yes, 31 years ago, I hope I'm not making you guys feel real old, but 31 years ago, this movie came out. Wayne's World. Kidneys, have you seen Wayne's World?
I have not. I've not seen Wayne's World.
Can you repeat that?
I have not seen Wayne's World.
You have not seen Wayne's World. Okay, well, other than, Step Brothers and Back to the Future, the whole trilogy, another one to add to your list. Kidneys, mark it on the spreadsheet, put it on the iPad. Wayne's World, especially part 1. It's a very classic comedy movie from the 31 years ago would make it, mid 80s kind of when it came out. So we're gonna 92. Okay, so 92. So a little bit before you were in the crib, just a little bit. So we're gonna go through and test you, because I know you said you've watched some retro, cartoons and maybe you've caught some movies from the 80s. So we're going to test your knowledge on 80 movie quotes. So don't look down at the chat, because they're probably going to help you out. So you got to keep your eyes on the screen, So first quote here. I'll be back. Which movie was that from?
It's the Terminator, which I have not seen, but I know the quote.
All right. Can you give us your best Arnold Schwarzenegger impersonation?
I'm trying to think if I've ever actually watched a movie with Schwarzenegger in it. But I heard him talk, so I'll do the "I'll be back."
Hey, all right, you got it. You nailed it. All right, number 2. You said we couldn't be with someone who didn't believe in you. Well, I believe in you. I just didn't believe in me. I love you always.
I don't know any of these movies at all. I've heard of 16 Candles. I haven't even heard of the other ones.
All right, take a wild guess. You got a 1 in 3 shot.
Candles. We're going to do 16 Candles.
Oh, Pretty in Pink. I believe it was Molly Ringwald in that one. All right. I don't believe in a no-win scenario.
I don't know Star Trek very well at all. I'm not really a Trekkie. I'm more of a Star Wars guy. I'm a big Star Wars guy, though. So when you put Empire Strikes Back with "I'll be back" on there, I was a little offended. What Batman are we referencing here? There's been a lot.
I guess the original, probably the Michael Keaton one.
Oh gosh, I haven't seen that for sure. So I'm gonna go with the only movie here I've seen, which is Die Hard.
Well, it is Star Trek: The Wrath of Khan. Yes. All right, 1 for 3. Next one, you got this one. You nailed this one.
It's not Star Wars. I don't think gigawatts are Star Wars. Is this Spaceballs or is it Back to the Future? It really could be either. I think it's Back to the Future, though, right?
You are 2 for 4. Yes.
I've seen this movie in parts, not like a whole sit down at once, but in parts.
Yeah, Doc Brown, 1.21 gigawatts. Yes, as he, got the time machine going with the DeLorean. All right, question number 5.
Gosh, I have seen Big, but I was very little, and I thought it was a very bizarre movie, and I did not like it. I've not seen the other 2. This feels like a really weird quote for Scarface. I'm going with Crocodile Dundee. I'm going to do that.
Crocodile Dundee is the correct answer. Yes. 3 for 5. Pretty good. I'm impressed there, Kidneys. 3 for 5.
I need 2 of them.
Have you seen Crocodile Dundee?
I have not.
Okay. So you're doing pretty good. All right. Another one for you here. We're all pretty bizarre. Some of us are just better at hiding it. That's all.
This feels like The Breakfast Club, which I haven't seen, but it feels like The Breakfast Club to me.
Oh, it is, as the timer goes on here. So what are you, 3 for 5 so far? You are now
4 for 6 now, right?
4 for 6. You are. Right. Okay. Snakes.
Oh,
Why'd it have to be snakes?
Ark. I've seen it. I was hoping for the other snake quote, but we probably can't put that on stream. But I'm rather fond of the other snake quote that I'm sure everybody in chat knows what I mean when I say that.
Yes. Raiders of the Lost Ark, 5 for 7. All right. Have you seen this one?
I have. I really didn't like Indiana Jones when I was a kid. I watched the first one was okay. I really just didn't like the second one. It was like a mix of the scene where they're like removing the thing from the guy's stomach just by grabbing it. And I was like in the car getting car sick. And the combination of watching that while being in the car and feeling like I was going to throw up was a bad combination. And I've just really never revisited it since.
Yeah, the first one was definitely the best. Although the third one was Sean Connery playing Harrison Ford's dad. Indiana Jones' dad was really good as well. The second one, yeah, I think they kind of fell a little bit.
How is that like a G? It's like a G or a PG rated movie. There's no way that movie should have been that rating. It's
exactly. All right, 4 for 6. There can only be one.
I mean, I've heard this quote from a variety of different places. I have no idea which of these movies it's from. I'm going to go with Highlander because of what I know Highlander means in terms of card games. And it does mean this, which is a Highlander format. You're only allowed one copy of a card. Oh, gosh.
5 for 7.
Why do I feel like this is no? Now I'm what was I 6 for 8 now? I think this.
Are you 6 for 8? Okay, go ahead. Make my day.
I'm gonna go with RoboCop. I don't know. I'm gonna go.
Oh, this is one that I think is gonna sting a little bit. One of the popular movies, Dirty Harry. Have you heard of Dirty Harry? Clint Eastwood.
I've heard of it because of the Gorillaz song.
All right. This one we can't go into too much detail. I can't show you the video clip, but it's a very famous quote.
This is when Harry met Sally. I know the quote.
Yes. Great.
I know the scene too.
Great romantic comedy. And the last one, I'm not bad. I'm just drawn that way.
Oh, it's got to be Who Framed Roger Rabbit, right? Given the context of the quote, I would assume that's what it is.
It is. Well, congratulations. You nailed them. You got like 80% of them. Yes.
I thought I was going to do far worse when I saw this. I never know what he's throwing at me, by the way, chat. I show up here and he's like, here we go.
Oh, that's what I love about Kidneys is he's so willing to just, roll with it. And I told him yesterday, oh yeah, I'm going to give you some movie core. I'm going to give you some 80s references and see how many you get. And he's, oh yeah, sure. Go ahead. I'll just show up and see how I do. So I'm still willing to take on some Zoomer quizzes too. If you ever want to prepare one,
I had a long week, half recovering, half staying up all night after taking the graveyard shift on the marathon. So maybe we'll set a goal for next week. I'll come up with something for you to look through and we'll have some fun with it. So.
Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy. All right. As Wayne and Garth would say, it's game on. Game on, Kidneys. Are you ready?
I am ready. I actually was able to finish my notes right before we got started with the quiz. So I have my short list. So.
In Wayne's world, one of the famous scenes was when Wayne and Garth, of course, they were playing street hockey. And those of us that grew up playing street hockey, we'd put the net on the road, and every once in a while a car would come by. And so there's a scene in Wayne's world where they're playing street hockey. I think they're wearing, is it Chicago Blackhawk sweaters? I think it's Chicago. And cars come by and they just yell out, car, and they go and they pick up the net and they carry it over to the sidewalk and then they bring it back and resume. And then again, 5 seconds later, car, and they take up the net. So it's game on time. Yeah. A lot of hockey references because Mike Myers, of course, is Canadian. All right, let's start with the perfect team beginner component. I always like to try and give some beginner advice because, we were all beginners. We don't want to be intimidated too much by some of the, OOTP play, the perfect team play. And a lot of times, there are beginners that we don't retain them a lot in the game because they get overwhelmed. And so I like to give a little bit of advice to beginners and how to make them feel a little bit more comfortable and to stay with OOTP and Perfect Team. So today we're going to focus on the beginner guide glossary. And Kidneys is going to go through and explain what some of these terms are that we hear thrown around in the community, on Discord, in the forums. And the first one, Kidneys, is meta. And just let me know when you want to share your screen. I see it's up there, but I'll leave the glossary up until you want to show something. So explain to a new player what we mean by meta in Perfect Team.
Yeah, absolutely. So meta is a term you're going to hear a lot, especially if you hang around places where I get to talk. Meta is just kind of what like the general consensus is on like what maybe not the best way, but one of like a good way to play the game is right now, right? So a good example of this would be because of all the stuff with pitcher BABIP and how tournaments are playing out right now. A lot of people are gravitating towards hitters with power and eye, right? So that would be the meta hitters, and they're not necessarily, like straight up the best hitters. But in general, that's like, a good kind of box to put yourself in. And then for pitchers, we're seeing a lot of pitcher BABIP is really important. And then not really any of the other ratings just standing out a huge amount above the other. You need some amount of home runs, some amount of stuff, some amount of control to succeed. So,
okay. Power creep. How about that one? What do we hear that as new cards come out, sometimes there's this power creep?
Yeah. So power creep is like a very hot topic in the video game world. And it's always something that's really, really hard for game developers to get right when moving forward, right? So if in a live service game like Perfect Team, where they're constantly coming out with more cards, you do have to make the cards gradually get better with time. Otherwise, there's no reason to get new cards and the game is boring. One of the like issues with power creep is either, sometimes, a card will stay around for maybe arguably too long, right? And then it's like kind of stale at a position into a certain format, or all of a sudden we did have this a little bit at the end of last year where back-to-back weeks were so good that pretty much every week before then was just almost useless at that point, right after just 2 weeks. And so it's a really hard thing for game developers to get right, and it's always a very touchy subject in like the gaming live service world, but it's important. So when we talk about power creep, or like I'll talk about a card and say this is a good card, but like I expect it to get power creeped. I'm saying I don't think it's going to last that long because something better will come out, right? And that could be for a variety of reasons,
Yeah, thanks for explaining those two, because again, those are two common words I see a lot, when we refer to Perfect Team, and eventually the new players do get to kind of know them, but wanted you to kind of go through kind of your perspective, what we're referring to there. Next is, there's a lot of tournament talk, always tournament talk, and for new players that come in, there's not just the league play, but you can enter tournaments. And I know you're a big proponent of, building up your reservoir, your perfect points, your packs, all that, and building good tournament teams rather than buying, cards on Card Shop for your league play. And explain a little bit about the difference between the types of tournaments that new players can enter.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, one of the biggest mistakes you can make as a new player is sit down, look at your league team, and go, okay, how can I make this team better? And that's like a really weird concept for some people, because the gameplay like feedback loop in most games like this is literally just, oh, I have money, I improved the team, right? And you keep going. The thing is, the way Perfect Team is structured, you can take your money and use it to make more money. And there's a variety of different ways to do that. But it's really not going to happen from improving your league team. It's almost zero. So unless you're like, trying to hit diamond for the first time, or perfect league, or win perfect league, you probably should wait and invest in other things like live spec, like traditional or perfect draft tournaments. So traditional tournaments are really cool. There's 8 different categories this year. All lead into the PTCS. And you get all sorts of prizes. You get prizes for doing well in the tournaments. You get prizes for being on the weekly leaderboard for the tournaments, and then you can get another prize if you make the PTCS and you do well in that, right? Each of the 8 formats is its own PTCS. We announced those formats today. Some of them look rather interesting. Perfect drafts are a little different because it doesn't require you to have any cards in your collection, and you can just great comment, Stone. You can just play, right? And it's a good way to learn the card pool. There's a variety of different streams and videos people put out to help you how to perfect draft better. But in reality, I mean, just take the money you have to make more money is what's going to, for most people who are really looking to compete or even doing a theme, right, it'll help you just have more fun long-term over the year. I mean, we got a whole year of this game. It's only been a month now, right? There's a lot more to go, so.
And for a new player, Kidney, coming in, if I, asked you to recommend one tournament for new players to kind of get their feet wet and start playing, what would you recommend? Would it be the perfect drafts? Would it be a certain traditional tournament? What's the best entry point for a new player?
Perfect drafts are a little overwhelming, but I do think it's a really good practice to get yourself familiar with the card pool. I would say the best thing to do is play the bronze quicks. Don't play iron quicks. They're a lot worse than the bronze quicks in terms of they give the same reward, but the tournament will take like 2 or 3 times as long for you to get that reward, right? And the bronze cards aren't really that expensive, so you should be able to afford a bronze team. So load into some bronze teams, look at some winning rosters, look at some cards doing well. It'll be small sample size data, but it's better than not doing anything, and try and get a feel for what plays and what doesn't, right?
Yeah. Next up, platooning players. You're a big advocate of fielding a roster for your league play, even for your draft tournaments where you platoon players throughout. Can you explain to the new beginning player what you mean by that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're playing fake baseball. Cards don't have feelings. It might be hard to tell that. They don't have feeling ratings actually either in Perfect Team, which they do in the base game. So what this lets you do is you can take the best player in the game, VR, that's not great against left-handed pitching, and you only play them half the time, right? You only play them against one way. And a lot of mistake a lot of people make when they're first starting the game and is in a non-cap format, or really in a non-draft format. It's really hard to do in a draft. It does happen sometimes. Is they'll just be like, oh, I have this bench player, right? And it's like, you have probably 14 hitters, 12 pitchers on your team in like a modern environment. Use all your players. Don't like have people who just sit on the bench all the time. It's a little more complicated to set up, but like you can take the best of both sides at certain positions and create a much stronger team than if you just played one guy both ways all the time, right? So.
All right. So in other words, don't, if you have a 26-man roster, and especially for your hitters, you don't want guys that are sitting on the bench versus lefties and versus righties. You want to try and utilize them as much as possible. Next, closer versus stopper. Again, for the new players, we understand what the terms mean, but when should you designate your bullpen guys as a closer as opposite to the stopper role?
I think there should be a third option too, which is don't. And I think don't is as good as an option as the other two, and it really depends on what you're doing, right? So in something like a perfect draft, where you're going to probably not draft a reliever early, and you're going to take 5 starters, or how many starters you need for the era, right? Your closer is probably going to be a lot worse than those starters, and what happens is when you set up a player to be a closer or a stopper, is that the AI will like prioritize pulling your starter to put that player in a high leverage spot when it's actually worse to do so, right? But difference closer versus stopper, it's really just, they're basically the same thing. The stopper just comes in earlier. So in Perfect Team, there's no penalty. There's actually most of the time a bonus for putting a starter in the bullpen, right? It's good. A lot of times they strike out more guys, right? So if a guy has a lot of stamina in the bullpen, making him a stopper can be beneficial. If he's stronger than your starting pitchers, because he'll throw more, right? So he'll throw a bit more than just the closer who'll only come in the 9th.
Okay. Excellent. And buy-sell orders. Again, those that are just playing Perfect Team and looking for cards or looking to sell cards, and they go to the card shop and they see, you know, all these different numbers on there, buy orders, sell orders. Pretty self-explanatory, but maybe just kind of explain to the new player again what those terms refer to.
Yeah, so buy orders are literally the greatest thing maybe to ever come to Perfect Team. A lot of people don't realize if you want a card, most of the time it's very beneficial never to click the buy it now button, right? You can throw up a buy order. It doesn't even have to be the highest one. You'd probably get the card at some point or another. It just depends on how bad you want it. And just saving money over and over again adds up to such crazy numbers. Or if you're a good friend of mine, RDT, you'll just get 100K cards for 40K all the time with buy orders. So just do that too, right? That sounds like a lot of money. Sell orders are, you know, when you post the card you want to sell. The mistake I see a lot of the time for newer players with sell orders is they get so impatient that the card isn't selling that they'll keep lowering the price when nobody's even really competing with them for the card to go down. And a lot of times, just take your time. The card will sell. Sometimes cards are overpriced, but as you play the game, you'll learn what costs what, right? Just be patient, really, on both sides of it, and you'll save a lot of money, make a lot of money, right? So.
Kind of like, you know, when you go and you buy your first car, you buy your vehicle, and you go onto that car lot and you see the sticker price of $40,000. You just don't hand over the $40,000.
No,
right?
That would be right. Just everybody knows not to do that, right? You don't pay sticker price on the car unless you need to drive it off the lot in 10 minutes, right? That's not how it works, you know? And sometimes you do want to drive the car off the lot in 10 minutes, but not a very common scenario, right? Yeah.
If you're in a perfect league and the playoffs are just about to start, you know, in the final round and you've made the finals and Willie Mays is on the card shop for a higher price, then you might pay that sticker price, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
All right. And one that I'm going to throw in that I didn't have on the list here, but the term or the acronym RNG, I believe it's RNG or RGN. I can't remember. I got that
RNG.
right. RNG. Okay. Explain to the new player when we throw around that term RNG, what you refer to that as.
Yeah, absolutely. So RNG is, you know, it's a computer term. It goes back a little bit farther in math, I would think, but it's a random number generator. And when we say something is RNG, what we mean is it's random, right? Like, a good example of it, let me explain one of my favorite acronyms. A player is doing really terrible. Like, for example, my Mark Burley went like 0 for 6 in his last 6 starts, right? And had like a 7 ERA. And some people might be like, oh, he's bad. And I would respond, no, that's RNG, right? Like, it's a good card. It's just a lot of time when we talk about RNG, you don't have enough data. So that would be a small sample size, right? Out of the Park is a game about data, and the cards play to their ratings. There isn't almost any hidden magic going on behind the scenes. Trust the ratings. Stop looking at the stats on your cards. Like, you should roughly know what they mean, and just go with the ratings. There's no hot or cold cards. It doesn't work like that. Like, just play the card, right? The cards are good. Hopefully, you should be putting good cards on your team. You just need more data. Like, it's almost impossible to get a relevant sample of data just from the cards on your team, because the meta changes as they age, right? So by the time you have 5 seasons of live Jacob deGrom, you know, everything in the game's different. Jacob deGrom would be different because of the live updates, right? A bunch of other things. So,
and that's one thing that I have, you know, taken from you and really kind of has sunk in is that don't look at the stats. Don't focus on the stats. Don't always replace players because of the stats. Look at the ratings. Look at the card. Look at the numbers on that card, and be patient. And all players, you know, even your Willie Mays, he's going to have a bad season once in a while. Over the long term, yes, it's going to balance out. But don't get rid of a card just because he has 5 bad games. Right? Keep them and go by the ratings on the card.
Yeah, absolutely. And another thing to point out, too, is when you're looking at the stats, because there are times you do want to look at the stats, like, look at the right stats. So often people tell me, like, they're playing this card over that card, and they'll go, oh, but his batting average is higher. And I'm like, okay, What does that mean, right? Like, you could play Moises Alou and Nomar Garcia-Parra, and they're going to hit 300, and they're going to do literally nothing else, and the card is not a good card, right? So, like, look in the context of, like, relevant advanced metrics we have built into Out of the Park. They're going to help you evaluate these cards a lot better than something like batting average would, right?
And we see that all the time when the meta cards come out, right? These big meta cards come out and someone pulls one in a pack or gets one off the card shop, and 2 weeks into it, they're on Discord and it's like, my so-and-so is like hitting 198 and I got the bad one and I'm going to sell them off. And you get people that get frustrated when the meta card doesn't perform right away. We've all been there. We've all thought a card was going to be really great and it stinks out of the gate sometimes. And just be patient, as Kidneys is saying here. Stats are important.
I mean, I got Ricky Henderson, the Ellie Ricky Henderson last cycle for some crazy low price because there was a bunch of talk in the main Discord like, oh, well, he hits 220. He's a bad card. But it's like, yeah, he hits 220, but he has like a 380 on base, and he steals 2 bases every time he gets on first, and he plays great defense. And like, I had that card being DH level, and it was like 95 range in left field. Like, you have to look at the bigger picture. I've said this a lot on this show, but almost every rating on every card matters, right? It has some value. And okay, Ricky Henderson's going to hit 220, and he's going to be the best left fielder in the game. And yeah, I'll take one for cheap. So
yeah. All right. And last week we talked about live spec, and it was announced yesterday, and Dish kind of made it more official today on his stream that live spec, or the live update, will be on Monday, May the 1st. So just a few days away. So if you plan on doing the live spec, and Kidneys and I talked about live spec on last week's show. So if you're not sure what we mean by live spec, just go back and watch that show. Or I believe one of the affiliates, DA186, last night on his stream had some live spec content as well. So I just put the link to his channel in the chat. Go check that out. You got a few more days. A good way, again, to build up that perfect point bank account is by live speccing. Although sometimes at this point in the month, isn't it almost a little too late, Kidneys? Or is there still time to build up your account?
You still have time. It probably was going to cost you a little bit more, but I mean, you definitely still can make money. Shout out to DA. His live spec work is always awesome. I think he posted his spreadsheet somewhere too for people to like, but don't just look at the spreadsheet. Listen to what he says, because a lot of times the context is helpful. It'll teach you about how the cards and ratings work. DA is a very knowledgeable guy. His live spec stuff was excellent last year, helped me out a lot. Yeah, go check it out. I mean, it's one of those things where it's a little tedious to do, but like, if you really like the game and you want to get better and make money, it's so much free, literally almost free money you can make by just getting the right cards. But watch DA's stream last night and learn what to look for and what cards and what ratings are going to go up, down, that kind of a thing, right? Be very, very helpful.
Yep, there you go. So again, I posted DA's Twitch link in the chat. Go watch the video on demand and learn a little bit more about live spec and get in on the live spec cards. Few more days before those cards are updated. All right, let's look back, Kidneys, at the week that was, or the last couple weeks that were, and a card or a player that either surprised you or is doing better than you thought or you're impressed by. For me, I'm going to focus on the Perfect Team Plus Yelich card. You never know what you're going to get as a free card, from OOTP. And for me anyway, I've been pleasantly surprised that this free card, by being a Plus member, has done well for me. I've had him on my Gladiator team for 3 years now. He's hit over 300 in all 3 years. He was the batting average champion in my league last year. And I know batting average isn't the end all and be all, but positive WAR 3.4, 4.3, 2.2 so far this year. And there's 3 other Yelich in my league, and all of them are, close to that 300 or better average. So I really like this card. I still like this card. And even if you don't have Perfect Team Plus and you don't have it, he's on the card shop. But again, he's going to be fairly expensive, over $20,000 for the posted prices. What are you thinking about the Yelich free card that we got as Perfect Plus members now?
He's really, really strong. I'm a big fan of this card. This bat is excellent, even in tournaments, which might surprise some people, because I know people have been memeing on me about being the power and eye guy. This card is still good. Like, BABIP still has some effect. It's a very well-statted card. Its defense is a little weak for the outfield. Ideally, if you're playing it, you're probably trying to DH it, especially in League 2, right? Because in League, we're not seeing the same BABIP effect, so this card will be an excellent league hitter, but you most certainly want to try and DH him. VR, this would be a great platoon card, right? We're talking about cards that are much better one way than the other. This card's much better versus righties, so it's a strong side platoon most of the time. And yeah, it's a really, really solid card here. So,
all right, and I guess we'll share your screen now, and you can kind of go through a card that's impressed you, and yeah, take it away. What's your kind of look back card of the week?
This card, I want to talk about this card for a few reasons. I think this card is extraordinary as a just diamond starting pitcher in so many different formats. I'll play him in open. I mean, he's just incredible. I also wanted to bring him up for the point I made earlier. He's had a real rough start to this year. It's actually, he's 20 games out of 32, and he's pitching bad. Let's go back to my rotation. He's still my #1 pitcher. I mean, just... What an incredible diamond card looking at these numbers on the ratings. He's great. I think this card probably has a lot of legs. The only concern with him is his strikeout number, maybe a little too low. So a common theme in previous perfect teams has been there's kind of like a threshold. You need this much stuff to succeed as a card. And if you go too low, it'll be a little rough. So maybe as time goes on, this card transitions to more of an earlier eras card where strikeouts matter a lot less. But I just think overall this card's incredible. So.
All right. And of course, one of the limited editions, this is out of 25. So it's not going to be a card that's going to be easy to get on the card shop. And since we're talking about limited editions, I believe there was only one. If you can bring up the Hammaker card and talk about, obviously, it's a great card. It's a perfect card. There's 25 of them recently released. Here we have that power creep. Maybe down the line is a term that we can probably talk about with this card. That it's really good now, but how effective is it going to be 3 months down the line? What do you think about this limited edition card?
He's really, really good. I think he's pretty similar to the Mark Burley I showed off a little bit earlier. The advantage, though, is he's not as close to the stuff gap. Stuff floor, I should say. So he'll strike out a lot more guys. He's got a lot more control. If you have all the cards in this game, this card is probably still in your starting rotation, which just shows how strong of a card it is. And then on top of that, right, we talked earlier about how you can just put starters in the bullpen. A lot of time they're better. So if a card's still in the rotation, it's got to get all the way down to being the 13th man in your pen before you kick it out in like an open non-cap format, right? So this card is excellent and will be very, very strong for a long time. So,
and you bring up a point that I want to explore a little bit more. Is like you said, when better pitchers come along and you better your roster, you're moving your starters down to bullpen roles in most cases. But are there some specific relievers? Is there one or two you can think of where you're not going to replace them with a starter? You're going to keep them in there? Or what are we looking for when we keep a reliever rather than put in the starter?
So, the advice I give a lot of people, because I think a lot of people don't get this, like if you're trying to improve your team, almost always the best thing you could do would be to go buy a starting pitcher and then kick your 5th starter to the bullpen rather than buying a bullpen card. It's very rare that like the correct play is actually to go buy a bullpen card. It's almost always improve the rotation. If you had like all the cards, there's 2 cards that are going to last an extraordinarily long time in the bullpen, which is this Joe Barry card. There's a few people who have taken him. None have sold. This card is ludicrous compared to the stats on other pitchers right now. The only comparable card to this card that I have is the packable from last week, Mike Adams, who's also very good. I think Joe Barry's better right now, but because of the stuff lore, Mike Adams probably plays for a bit longer. But these are the two relievers that are just clearly better than the rest of the competition at the moment.
There you go. There's your reliever advice. Excellent. Good. Well, let's go back and let's start getting into the cards that everyone were introduced to today, the Future Legend cards. Future Legend set number 1. So we know there's going to be a second set. I would imagine all 100 top 100 prospects will be in Perfect Team, most likely, plus maybe a few others. And presented again, one of the partnerships OOTP has this year is with Fangraphs. Well, again, we're not going to spend time going through all of the different cards. These were the ones that Dish presented today. We've got the iron or the silver cards that were presented. Some of them look to be usable, especially in the lower tournaments or the lower leagues. We'll start with the silver ones first, Kidneys. Are there any fun cards in silver or any ones that you want to target specifically?
Yeah, I got a list of 16 cards I can bring up that we can go through if you want. I can do it either way. I can do hitters and pitchers at once, or I can do. It's probably easier for me to do like all the hitters and then all the pitchers if that works for chat.
Are there any iron that Dish presented that, and then I'll use my screen for that. And if he didn't present them, you can use your screen.
I was sleeping for the first half of the stream.
Okay.
So I'm gonna be real. I don't know if
we'll just bring up your screen then.
All right. So we'll go this way. So the first one I'd like to talk about is I don't know. I think is this Edward Julian? Edward Julian has a fantastic VR bat. Not quite like the best VR bat in silver. I think the Build a Lineup Berkman's a little better, but this card is Ortiz level bat. It's got a pretty great glove. It's technically really flexible, but you really just want it at first base or DH. I'm really excited about this card, though. This card, I mean, that bat VR on a silver card is incredible, and the VL bat isn't a lot worse either.
Just going to interrupt you for a sec, Kidneys, because I guess we are on an ad break here, one of the big ad breaks. So we'll just we'll take we got about a minute and a half left, so we'll take our little break here, and then we'll resume back when the ad's over. So stay tuned, guys. Subscribers, you don't see ads, of course. So we'll be back in about a minute and a half. All right, we are back after all those ads from Twitch. If you're just joining the stream, welcome into the Hawk Reports number 5 and our OOTP 24 world with YourKidnies. And when we left off, YourKidnies was talking about some of the new releases, and we're focusing first of all on some of those iron or some of those silver cards. And I believe this is the one that we left off on here. So back to you, Kidneys.
This is the first one I was talking about. The VR bat is excellent. The VL bat isn't even bad either. It's a card, open silver, perfect drafts. You'd love this card, first base DH. Very, very strong hitter against right-handed pitching. I'm a big fan of Edward Julian. Moving on, I have a lot of silvers on the list, so we can talk about. Wait, what? Oh, he's below this one. That's why I can't find him. Junior. I think Junior's a pretty solid option at third base. Yeah, I have him just squeaking out as like number 1 overall at third base in silver, which is pretty great. He just really solid both ways. Silver third base was really, really weak VR. So if I sort silver third base VR in like, modern, the top 5 cards are cards that were released today, which is kind of crazy. I will say I do think this is the best of the bunch just because of the good defense, the solid bat, and it's got a really, really respectable bat VL as well. I mean, not quite as big of an impact as that Chipper Jones will make, so maybe this is your platoon partner with him, but oh wait, no, I'm looking about Junior. Oh my gosh, I confused this card with Julian. this card isn't supposed to be here. I'm sorry. We can look at Romo. I mean, Junior is fine, but there's so many. Like, if this card came out today without all the other silver third base options, he would be good. And then I missed the other ones because I had my list messed up. Romo's really fun. This is how he always looks in the base game. He's been like one of my favorite cards in the base game for a very long time. He's really similar to Bruce Petway. So like in a cap, I'd probably pay Petway because he's cheaper. But he's got a better glove and a worse bat. So I do think though this is a really solid option for silver. Having that high catcher ability, catcher arm is a really silly thing at this level. And then I guess the last silver I really wanted to go over was this Elijah Green. Silver center field was a very weak position, kind of like silver third base VR. I just have Elijah Green kind of coming out on top now. He's the best VL guy. He's top 3 VR. And just overall, I mean, he runs the bases, got an excellent bat, and a pretty solid glove. So this card you certainly want somewhere in the outfield. You could play him anywhere. Kind of an honorable mention is this Sal Frelick. I'd be super excited for this card in center field, probably VR, if Green wasn't here. But they do both play like all 3, so maybe you play Frelick in center, Green in right, or the other way around. Frelick's also pretty good. Moving on to...
And just maybe address that question I have on the screen there again for the newer players.
Sorry. What is VR? So when I'm talking about VR, I'm talking about this side of the card, right? I'm talking about the card that says verse right-handed pitching. So when I say a card plays VR, you're going to want to play him only versus right-handed pitching most of the time, right? And that's when we were talking earlier about platoons, right? If you're playing Frelick, it needs to be in a non-cap most of the time, and you're going to want to, make him one half of center field, and the other half is going to be a card that's really good VL. So like the Mission Reward Franklin Gutierrez would be a good example, right? Of a card that then only hits lefties, right? So you can do either of those things. Thanks for pointing that out. I got like 5 windows I'm scrolling through on 3 monitors here. So
we're on the fly here. Yes. All right. So you want to go to the gold hitters? Gold hitters?
Yep. So it's the gold hitters. I was switching my spreadsheet for this card is quite impressive verse right. Like really scary verse right. And the other kind of crazy thing about this, like immediately looking at this card, you're like, oh, well, this would be a good example of a VR hitter, right? It's still 90 power, 80 versus left-handed pitching, but I mean, versus right-handed pitching, I do not have another card in gold being remotely close to what this card is going to do to right-handed pitchers. So you want this card on your team. Tristan Casas is excellent first base DH. 2 more gold mentions for me are Curtis Mead. I just think is rather well-rounded. I don't think like he's like completely the best option, but funny enough, the card is so well-rounded. It's actually like you could play this over Casas at first. Combination of the excellent defense at first base and a very, very well-rounded bat. You could do that. He's also I think a pretty solid option at third. There's a few guys I like a little bit better, but you DH one, maybe Bill Joyce is your second baseman if you're really brave. And this card certainly can make the roster. I think it's a really, really solid card. And then my last gold hitter is this Joey Weimer. There's a lot to love about this card. Joey just kind of does it all, right? Like 85 range in center is fantastic. It's a big step above the cards I like in the meta right now. And he's going to steal a ton of bases, excellent base running. And the bat is certainly not as good as you would like it versus right-handed pitching. It's excellent VL. So maybe this is a card you platoon in center, you play it versus lefties, you play like a Stan Musial or a Curtis Granderson versus righties. But I do really like this card. I think this is a really strong card overall.
All right.
And then
So we're going to move on to diamond hitters now.
Diamond hitters, yes. I need nice if I could just automate all this a little bit faster, but we'll take what we can get. All right, we did show a lot of these guys. I think we showed all these cards on stream, but I'm going to talk about the big three. I think Volpe was first. What a kind of crazy bat on this card, and excellent base running. Defensively, it's a little weaker than probably what I would like, ideally, at second base. But, like, if you compare him to the competition, it's, like, really hard not to be like, oh, I'll just play this card at second base. Like, because I think in Open Diamond, I mean, the best second base options were still arguably, like, Sammy Strang or Chase Utley, and this card has a lot more numbers than those cards. Certainly, you're not playing Chuck Knobloch anymore. I don't know. I feel like this has to make the team somewhere. It's just a little hard for me because I would like it to have a little bit more defense as somebody that's an infielder. You could hide him at third base, but then like he's competing with Bregman, and funny enough, I think he might just be better than the top Bregman, which is really crazy because up until today, I think the top Bregman was like a huge mile above other Diamond third basemen, right? So I think this is probably the option then there. I mean, again, you're gonna sacrifice some defense, but just an excellent bat. The other two, so we have Jordan Walker. Just crazy card. Looking at the bat numbers on this are kind of ludicrous. And then, like, he plays probably below average right field defense in Diamond. I mean, maybe it's still above average just because of how the meta is shaped. A lot of people aren't prioritizing defense because of the BABIP nerf. But this card, like, he plays corner outfield and he can back up or even start at third base. Yeah, he's better against lefties. I mean, his VL bat is it the best I have in Diamond? It is the best bat I have in Diamond versus lefties, but the VR bat is still really good. This card is just incredible.
All right, and before you move on to the next one, big shout out to Mr. Spore for bringing over the raid. Thank you so much. All raiders coming in from Sporer's channel. This is, if you're new to the channel, this is the Hawk Report. This is the Hound Analysis with Kidneys, where we look at some of the new cards that were released prior to this episode. So this morning, this afternoon, and we always like to have a fun Gen X kind of theme. Our theme today is OOTP 24 World with Garth and Wayne. In this case, it's with Kidneys and Laptop Hound. All right. Thanks again, Spore, for bringing over the raid. On to your next one. Who do we got next?
James Wood. I don't know. I this card I have being like the best first baseman, left field, center field if you don't believe in defense and you think it's a myth, and right fielder. Oh, and probably DH. This card is ludicrous. I mean, we're looking at 85 BABIP, 110 power, 100 I, good corner outfield defense. Probably play somebody else at first. You'll probably play him in left field, and then my thing's probably going to have him as a bit better of a base stealer than he is, because I think the speed is a little bit low for base stealer. You really like to see over 100 speed on base stealers. Like, there's kind of always been a little bit of a break point there. I've been struggling a little bit with my Jackie Robinson to try and get it, because I think he's a 96 117, and I'd like to see a little bit more out of him. But I mean, yeah, no question. Like, I agree with what DA says. Like, this is probably the best hitter in the game right now. It plays solid defense, and you can play it in a Diamond tournament. So that's pretty excellent. I'm a big James Wood believer. I think he is. And the crazy thing about this too, a lot of times when we talk about like best hitters in the game, right, they're really like, they're rather splitty. So I think the next card, Gunner, is a good example of like what a splitty card looks like. And this card's like the best VR bat, and then like the fourth best VL bat, right? And it's an incredible card. He will probably be around for a very long time in the meta. And then we can talk about Gunnar. Obviously, Gunnar is excellent. Gives me a little bit of George Brett flashbacks from last year, just being the crazy VR card. But yeah, I think Gunnar's an interesting one, right? It's really, in cap tournaments, you have to read the meta, you know, how many people are throwing right-handed pitchers. And if they are, you can certainly play this card, you know, full-time and get away with it. Its VL's a little bit left to be desired. Like, if I'm in, like, you know, a perfect league in a few weeks, I'm probably trying to find a guy to play VL third base with him. There's a bunch of options that can do that. But overall, just I think this is probably... Oh, man, I still have James Wood a little higher. But, yeah, like, you know, a top 3... There's really a top 3 guys for VR bat, like Harper, Gunnar, Wood. I would have up there as the best VR hitters for sure. So
I really like that George Brett comparison with last year's card, because that's exactly what George Brett was, like, really good for the platoon versus the righties, and we see that in this case as well. So what you're saying, Kidneys, is that this is a little better than the perfect Shane Baz from last year? Is it slightly better than the Shane Baz?
I like to pretend that card wasn't a thing with the amount of times I had to see a perfect card back and it flipped over and it was Shane Baz and I just cried.
Yeah, that was definitely one from last year's version of the game where if you were hoping for a perfect card, that might be the only time you'd prefer a live card over one of the other ones. So, all right, are we going on to the next perfect one?
Yeah, I mean, I will make a comment. So the PTCS cards aren't in the card database, so I had to manually enter Yaz because I was just curious because I saw a lot of people talking about it. I think I would have him like number 4 in left field. It's again a little hard to say other places just because I don't have all the numbers complete or the back of the card for first base, but that's about where I'd have him. He kind of comes out about Jordan Walker. Obviously, one plays VL, one plays VR, but that's kind of, I think, about his value. I mean, there's a lot of options right now, right? And, like, if you have all the options and you're looking at, like, Turkey and Wood and Mookie and Bellinger, it might be a little hard to fit him out there. But, yeah, I don't know. I don't know. We'll see. I would be curious what he gets to at first base. That would be an interesting thing for me. But there's also a lot of very good first base bats right now. That's kind of been a big theme this year. So we can go on the pitchers.
Yeah, first base is always one of those where, again, there's just so many players to choose from and platoon situations. And this is a card too, correct me if I'm wrong, but there will only be 10 of these, correct, that are in the game?
Yes.
Like one for each of the... Yeah, right. One for each of the champions.
We're up from the 4 copies we had last year of the PTCS rewards because every format is now its individual PTCS, right? So there'll be 8 regular tournaments, a daily perfect draft, and a weekly perfect draft. All the champions will receive a copy of Yaz, right? So there's
do you remember, Kidneys, in the PTCS, was this where the winner got all of the cards that were lower as well? Or was that the PTMS where they got those? You remember offhand?
I feel like at the end of the cycle it was both, but I could be mistaken. I didn't play any last year. I don't know if they talked about if that's the case this year. If Dish is still here, I'd love to know if like if I win Yaz, do I get all the cards behind Yaz and so on and so forth down the line?
Hopefully they'll clarify that if it's, you know, this tournament or whether it's the PTMS, but because then you'd get the Hornsby and you'd get, you know, all those other ones that.
Yeah, I really liked the gold card. I can't remember his name. I think he's interesting. I don't know if you could like play him in outfield. I remember his defense was a little rough. Oh, the low gold, the Ken Harrelson, but the bat is certainly impressive on that card. That was definitely the card that I had my eyes on from this set was the low gold Ken Harrelson. So.
Okay, so yeah, this one right here, a lot of power, really good eye. So for finishing, you know, basically, I think you'd have to win one round, right? If you win one round or 2 rounds.
Two rounds. The PTCSs are 128 tournaments if you're trying to qualify for those, because this week is the last week for the first PTCS. You need to be in the top 128 of a format to qualify for that format's PTCS.
Okay. All right. Do you want to go to the pictures now that stand out for you?
Yep. So we can talk. I have one silver card I liked. I like this Matthew Liberatore. I don't know how you say it. I just wanted to say it that way. This card's really, really good. It'll probably be even better in the pen, just looking at this mix of pitches and, you know, the OK velocity. I don't have it as, like, you know, a groundbreaking silver or anything, but it's certainly a solid silver option to kind of have in your arsenal a little bit. For gold cards, there was one I rather liked, just this Tanner Beebe. Shout out to him. He made his MLB debut, I think, yesterday and was excellent. So that's pretty awesome. Just one of those cards, again, you know, you're risking a bit of a home run, but it doesn't seem to matter as much this year. And the pitcher BABIP and control combo is going to keep a lot of base runners off the bases, right? And that's just an excellent thing to do. And that also makes the lower home run matter a bit less, right? So I think overall, this Tanner Beebe, again, isn't like a groundbreaking gold card, but he's an above average one, and that's a good place to be, because a lot of people are still playing below average cards, right? You gotta be better than the field, right, to win. Diamond pitchers, there's 2 I really like. I like the Fat. I don't know if this is actually how you say his name, but that's how I want to say it. That we showed on stream. Again, kind of the similar shape, right? He's going to prevent a lot of base runners. He's going to give up a few more home runs, but because he's preventing the base runners, you know, it's not going to matter quite as much. Let me just see exactly with these last 3 where I have them sitting.
And as you're doing that, I'm just going to address a few things in the chat. Alex, thanks for you know, tuning into the stream, and I'm hoping you're learning some things as a beginner. And yeah, we throw out a lot of acronyms, and earlier on, I don't know if you caught it, but we did address some of them, like power creep and RNG and those kind of things. So yeah, trying to help the beginners. Don't be afraid to ask a question. If you are a beginner and you have some questions about, hey, what does this mean, or what is that for, feel free to ask that, and Kidneys and I can address those in the stream.
Yeah, right? Normally I'm really good about questions. Just one of the things is I have to have, like, right now my game open on one and my spreadsheet that I use to evaluate the cards on the other. So a lot of math and a lot of me trying to change buttons in real time. So I apologize if I'm missing things.
Yeah, we've got our eyes kind of going everywhere. And Chess Safari, congratulations. You just got Hunter Brown. So in your packs, good. So Hunter Brown, I'm not sure if that was a silver or iron or
no, he's right here on the list. He's a 91. So we'll actually talk about all the cards here real quick. Looking at the ratings. So I like the Fat card. I do like the Taj Bradley card the most. I think this card is, like, extraordinarily strong VR. I mean, again, you can see these splits, right? Like, he's going to struggle versus lefties a bit. And especially this 14-point gap of home run. But the card is so strong VR, it kind of makes up for the difference. These are also all low diamonds, which is kind of interesting. Hunter Brown and Ricky Tiedemann are, like, really solid pen cards. I wasn't really going to bring them up. Their stamina is a bit on the low end. So what that means is, like, you'll probably struggle to get the proper amount of pitches out of them. And they're also, like, better builds for a pen card. What I mean by that is they're high stuff. So stuff is strikeouts play up in the bullpen, and lower control, right? So these are just cards that are better suited to being in your bullpen a little bit in the rotation, but they also grade out as very, very good cards, even a little bit higher than Fat. I just think Fat might have a little bit more value being that he can start. Okay? And then I think this might surprise a few people, because I kind of had this take, and I mentioned it to a few people, and they were like, really? Yuri Perez is excellent. And when I say excellent, I mean I have this as being, if you had all the cards, I'm pretty sure this ends up in your rotation right now. Let me just fact check myself. Yeah, I mean, not counting limited editions, he's the second best card. If you want to count limited, he's probably 3 or 4. But really, really fantastic card. I know a lot of people are going to be thrown off by the difference in some of these numbers down here, but he's just so well statted overall. I think this will be a card that's around for a very long time. And again, even we talked about earlier, like you always improve your rotation, and then you slide cards into your bullpen. I mean, this card will be awesome in the bullpen with the high stuff and some of the numbers on him. So I think this card is also just really, really strong. Feller's not number 1, by the way. I have Joss as number 1. Feller would be number 2.
Okay.
So.
And that's for just starting in your starting rotation, Joss and then Feller?
Yeah, and also I'll quantify when I talk about cards like this. It's almost always in the context of like a modern era tournament, right? Things change a lot. Eras, the farther back you go, the worse strikeouts get. You go into 1919, you're playing basically a different video game. Most of it's roughly the same. But I do normally when I talk about cards, it's just my tool is set up for modern environment, and also more formats are in modern than other formats, right? So.
Yeah, good point. Good to clarify. And I would imagine that Paul Sporer had just a blast creating this set, because from what I know about his background and his involvement with baseball, like he is more into that prospect area of baseball, I believe. And so putting together these cards, we have to recognize that these future legend sets are probably going to be a lot different than ones we've seen in the past that were created, because we have a different content creator creating them, and that has kind of that prospect kind of background. So it's going to be really fun to play a lot of these cards, see how they play out. It's almost like you want them to continue on to next year's version of the game and have them develop like a real baseball player. And 5 years from now, these names that a lot of us don't really recognize, 5 years from now, we're going to be like, what do you mean you don't know who DL Hall is? Like, he's a stud, like he's an all-star. It's so fun to watch these new players develop. And these were some of the other ones that were not shown on screen. You did talk about a few of them, but before we kind of end off on today's set here, any others that kind of stand out you want to mention?
I will say a lot of the silver bats are playable. I just didn't want to cover like every single one of them. I think a lot of the silver bats are really good. That was probably like a little bit like if you're looking for cards I didn't bring up, I would go look at some silver hitters. I think a lot of them are really good. I don't know. I think overall, I do want to. Sporer made a comment like, who thinks Yuri isn't good? A lot of times it's just hard to like eyeball a card that has like different colors one way than the other way. Like that's a really common thing, even with really good players, right? Is that, it's less about like how good the card actually is and more like, well, I'm looking at this card, I'm like, well, he's 8 points worse home run VL, and then he's 7 points PBAB VL, and then another 6 of control, and he's 7 points of stuff. And like, you're kind of thinking about it like, well, can this card pitch VL? And it turns out he can, right? Of course. But I mean, that happens a lot. And a lot of the time, I think people make the mistake of undervaluing cards with really significant gaps. Because even somebody like Curtis Granderson, who's one of the most silly-looking cards in the game, still has a lot of value VR, center field, and gold, right? So,
yeah, and in terms of missions, I don't have the game open, but can you bring up kind of your missions? Do you see a lot of missions with these cards?
I don't think there's any missions with these cards.
None yet. Okay.
No mission. So maybe we'll get them when we wrap up. This was labeled as Future Legend 1, so I'm assuming we're getting 2. Maybe we'll get every... there's 4 new pack missions. Oh, thank you, Chess Safari. I didn't see those. So maybe we'll get... what's it called? We'll get all 100 of the top 100 or something. We'll see. It'll be fun. I do want to shout out the card art on these is excellent. A real... cyberpunk kind of vibe to them. They look extraordinarily good. I'm a big fan of the perfect ones. The perfect ones look incredible. So excited to get my hands on one of these.
Okay, well, let's talk about our, again, so many cards to choose from here, and the card of the set. And again, it doesn't have to be the best card, just a card that you were glad to see, or a player that you really like or want to watch as he develops into a major leaguer. For me, a couple that kind of interest me, one you talked about was the Romo card with the defense, the catcher ability, the arm, seeing how he plays out in the perfect team environment. Really kind of curious to see how that goes. You compared him a lot to the Petway card, and I don't play silver tournaments, so I'm hoping those that do play silver tournaments or use them in perfect draft tournaments as a secondary catcher, maybe even a primary catcher. Really interesting to see how he impacts perfect team. And of course, the other one that stands out, I'm going with two today, is from my Toronto Blue Jays, their top prospect, Ricky. And again, he's going to eventually end up in the bullpen. I completely agree with you there. Really good stuff, adequate for the lower levels and even for the higher levels when he gets into the bullpen for a while. So those two, because I'm a Blue Jay fan and because I'm really curious how this card will play out in the environment. Those are my two cards of the set. How about you, Kidneys?
So you talked about picking fun cards instead of necessarily the best cards. For me, the most fun cards are the best cards. That's how I like to play the game. And I'm also going to pick two cards because you did it, because I couldn't decide either. So I'm going to go with Tristan Casas. I don't know if we've ever had a verse right bat that is this good on a gold card before. I mean, it's like comparable to guys like Urbeck and Boog. Like, this bat is just so silly. I can't wait to get my hands on and play this card in like gold and above or wherever. I mean, just incredible. And then the other one, of course, is James Wood. I mean, kind of an argument now for best hitter in the game. Well, certainly best hitter. If you want to say like overall batter, maybe. I think he's certainly in the conversation. Just an extraordinarily strong pick in James Wood as well. So.
And look at that. We had the Lost Wanderer who just said that got Tristan with his first pack and inserted him into the lineup right away. So one of the early people that's going to get a test of that Tristan card. And so Wood, are there any on the card shop yet of this one here who you consider the best or one of the best hitters right now?
No, there's no James Woods for sale. There is 2 buy orders for 80 and 85K already. It's always one of those funny things where, like, if a card is that good, but it's of a lower rarity, how do you evaluate it, right? Because it gets pulled a lot faster than if it was a perfect James Wood. We're looking, few $100K for it. So it's kind of like, how much are you going to spend if you want one now? Because it won't be as much later, right? And then it's not about like, I need it now because I want it now. It's I need it now so I can go make money with it in tournaments. And then so going from there, how much money is the card going to make you, right? And what's going to be worth it? So.
And just to clarify, these future legends are pulled at the historical rate, correct? Not the live rate?
Yeah, they should be. They should be a historical rate. They'll play an out-of-the-park era, which I believe one of the PTCSs was out-of-the-park era. I think the Open. Yes, out-of-the-park era Open, which means you're gonna see a lot of these cards. Even in probably the 1953 run environment, I would assume you're gonna see a lot of these cards show up, especially in an Open that restricts you to out-of-the-park era. So,
okay, well, it is that time of the show now that I look forward to, especially after the first 3 weeks. Yeah. And again, if you guys have any questions about the cards, the future legend cards that came out today, curious about, because again, we didn't have time to go through all 50 plus of them. If there's a card that you want Kidneys to kind of do a quick evaluation of from the future legend set, just post it in the chat and we can do that at the end of the show here. The Generation Showdown, if you're new to the stream, Kidneys is a Zoomer. I am a Gen Xer, and we like to have this little pack opening kind of competition where we each open 10 packs And based on the cards that we pull, they get a certain point value. So a perfect or LE card will get 7 points. And believe me, you can win. If I can pull a hammocker, you can win this week. The diamond, if there are any left. I know last time I think I saw 19 of 25 was pulled. So we're getting close to the end of them. Any diamond card, 5 points. Card from today, any future legend will be 4 points. A gold card, live or historical, 2 points. And we have to spin the wheel to see what our mystery card point value will be. Last week, I got to open an extra pack. Let's see what we have this week.
Because you really needed that extra pack, didn't you? When I scored 0 points last week.
I just barely beat you. Just barely. All right. So
50.
we are looking for cards, iron cards at 50. All right. So again, guys, we have a scoreboard going here. 3 for me, none for the Zoomer, but we are heading to his ballpark now where I have to open packs first. So maybe that's going to change things a little bit. Our point total is 29 to 11 over the 3 polls so far. And we're on a race to 10. Whoever wins kind of 10 of these weekly sessions will be crowned the winner. And the loser, well, we're going to announce kind of what that's going to be at a later date. So I'm going to bring up my OOTP here, and let's see if I can avoid the goose egg.
And it does stack, right? So if you pulled a perfect future legend, you would get 11, right?
Yep,
not just
absolutely.
4.
Yep.
Yeah.
Hey, I would absolutely love to pull future legend 100, and I hope at least one of us gets one future legend today.
That would be great.
That would be great. I'll take the wood. You can take the Romo. All right, pack number 1. So we're looking for the 50 iron plus those other specialty cards. And right off the bat, you want to concede yet? Concede. So this would be a nice for a future legend. What do we got? We've got Starling Marte.
2 points.
So 2 points for Lap. All right. Next up. And yes, I didn't think we had a 50 on that one. No 50s here
no
as
50.
well.
No 50 on the last one either. So.
Pack number 3.
No.
Ooh, at a 51, close.
Yeah.
Pack 4.
Back-to-back Domingos.
Nothing. Pack number 5.
Ooh,
we have a 50.
That Zunino, for everybody watching, is one of the best cap cards in the entire game. The Mike Zunino on your screen is an extraordinarily strong cap catcher. Big fan of it.
Pack number 6.
Oh, another 50. All right.
Right. Pack number 7.
Another one. Oh my gosh.
High five, kidneys. High five. No, not yet.
Are we high-fiving over iron cards? We're a little desperate today.
I know. Who gives high fives over iron cards? Well, we do. We do when they're worth some points. All right, pack number 8.
There's going to be some pretty fun stakes for this competition, I think.
Pack number 9. Oh!
Ooh, I hope it's one from today. That would be awesome. All the diamonds look very good.
Okay, so it's at least 5 points. Mm-hmm. What do we have? Oh, Garrett Cole. All right, one more pack. Setting the bar high. And...
oh my gosh. That's awesome.
Jordan
Alvarez. It's pretty fun.
Right. Now, I don't know if you've done the math, kidneys, but 2 diamonds, 1 gold,
Three
3
iron
50s.
That's
That would
15
be
points.
15 that you have to beat.
Man.
Now, all you have to do is to pull a perfect card from today, and that's 11
Oh,
points.
yeah.
That'll be 11.
Oh, yeah. Let's try it. I mean, it's doable, but my luck has not been... If it's going to be a repeat of the other streams we've done, it would be rather fast. So
All right, well, Chess Safari's in your corner. Chess is calling you with the win.
Oh! Okay. We'll start with 5 points.
Did I say you can start yet?
I was on the screen. I think it's okay. I had 10 packs exactly. I don't know what you want from me.
Oh, wow. That is a good start. There's 5 right off the bat. Home field advantage.
Pretty good. Let's try not to go scoreless for the rest of it, as we like to do.
All right.
We got a 50. Got a 50, so that's 6 points. We got a sideways card, but no 50.
No points.
No points for the sideways card. Nothing here. Well, gold card, a Hal Morris.
So gold card was worth what? 1 point?
2 points.
Oh, 2 points. Oh, okay, 2.
Yeah, so I'm up to 8 points.
8?
This Christian Posh is also a great cap card. If anybody needs a cap outfielder. Nothing here. 4 more. Another 50. That makes it 9 points. I need a 50 and a diamond at least in 3 packs.
Look at Kidneys doing the math here.
Oh! Oh, that's gonna do it! That's 6 points. We're tied at least. I got Casas. Let's go.
Isn't that the card you said you wanted to get?
Yeah, I mean, of all the gold cards, this is the one I want for sure. This card is unbelievably strong. I was gonna probably pay way too much money for this card after the stream, so I'm very, very excited to pull it. That's definitely a high 5. That's a little bit better than an iron. So
okay, so you got 2
now.
You got 2 packs left. All you need is at least a 50.
150.
We are in the
150
bottom of the
is
8.
it. I got it. Let's go. About time. About time.
Wow. Home field advantage pays off, and Kidneys, with 1 inning to go. What do you got in your last pack?
For those who don't know, by the way, home field and out of the park is about a 10% buff because you're like 55% favored at home and like neutral everything. So I'm just saying, fits with the game, right? Home field advantage, quite a big deal. Let's do the last one. No points. So I win by exactly 1 point.
Wow. Kidneys with win.
I was not expecting. Is that more points than I've had all the other ones combined? How many points did I have in the other ones?
Let me bring it on. Let me see here. We'll give you a little bit of cheering first of all.
That's quite something. And an infinite amount more points. Yeah, I mean, I pulled 16 today. I had 11 total.
I'm not gonna lie. When I came with 15 points, I thought there's no way. There's no way.
I did either.
And it really was this pulling a card from today. That's what did it for you. Is getting interesting card.
6 packs for the Casas, which also just an incredible card. Very happy to have it. I mean, I'll take my walk off on the 8th pack. Or no, the 9th pack. My walk off on the 9th pack feels pretty good. Yeah. Feels pretty good. So
congratulations.
Back in the game. At least I'm not down 4-0.
Yeah, congratulations. That would have been a tough to come back from 4-0, but you pulled it out, man. I give you credit here. That 1 pack. So AZ Axel, if you had anything to do with that.
Yeah, I know. The streamer luck that chat loves to conspire about is certainly real.
Exactly, yeah.
It was very real last week with my 0 point score. And I 100% streamer luck there. I just pull every card I want, you know?
Well, now your rant is going to be with a smile on your face.
Oh.
All right. So, is there anything you want to show on screen, or is it just we can put the timer on? What do you want to do with your rant today?
You can just put the timer on.
Okay.
We're going to talk about something very near and dear to my heart that I've done many a rant actually on over the years. So
are you ready?
Water.
Okay. So we got the if you ever seen the TV show 24, they always have their clock on that has
yes, my dad quite likes that show.
We don't have the sound effects, but as soon as you're ready.
All right. 3, 2, 1, let's go. All right. So as you've been watching the stream, yeah, I'm not talking about the game. I'm talking about Twitch drops. You've been collecting free packs. You got 5 from Dish earlier. You got 5 from Laptop Hound today. You can get 5 for not doing anything from any Out of the Park affiliate. Every day resets at 3 a.m. Eastern Time US. And you get another 5 from the main channel. Again, every day resets at 3 a.m. US. Alex knows where this is going. He's been around me for a long time. If something happens and a stream gets canceled, or the streamer doesn't go long enough, or anything happens, can you not complain about not getting your full amount of packs? Like, really, let's unpack this a little bit more. You can go spend probably 2 hours in a tournament and make more packs just by clicking submit now on your team in a bronze quick or a gold quick or anything. And I understand it's a bonus and it's free, but what it is it's a fun incentive to get people to watch the streams. You're not entitled to it. We don't stream to give you your daily allotment of packs. If someone is sick, it's not like this huge, crazy deal, and you need to be demanding answers in the Discord or in someone's Twitch chat. Or if TJ doesn't go for exactly over an hour and a half, or you haven't been there since minute 1, why do you feel the need to put in the chat, oh, I'm at 89%, oh, 95%, oh, could you have gone for 3 more minutes, maybe? That's not why we stream. It's a fun, like, little added incentive. The world doesn't revolve around your 5-10 packs a day. I don't care if it adds up. Like, think about it, right? Think a little bit before you speak, and give some love to your streamers. We put in a ton of work to bring this to you guys, so.
Thank you so much. With 1 second to spare, with the Generation Showdown victory, Kidneys on fire. Yes, Kidneys on fire today. And hey, if you want more Kidneys, check out, first of all, his YouTube or his Twitch channel. He streams, every once in a while. And also check out his Discord. Join his Discord and catch more of the sheet and more of Kidneys and the occasional rant on Discord as well.
If you're a longtime Kidneys viewer, I had to do that rant many times over the years, especially when there were only packs on the main channel and we had the stream team. So people like Yuka and DRC and Angered Unicorn and 1 or 2 others would stream on the main channel. And if they didn't go for their hour and a half, people would lose their minds and send angry messages to them. And these are my friends and real people, and they were putting in awesome content, and just enjoy the free things you're getting. I used the example in the Discord of somebody going to Costco only to pick out free samples and yelling at a manager that there were no free samples that day. You never wanted to buy anything. Just go get some food.
Oh, Kidneys, I have a special message for you here that you might want to consider.
Mr. Devil Dog with an excellent comment. That's fantastic.
And oh boy. And again, yes, when the affiliates come on, when OOTP comes on, you get those packs. But something that we should clear up too, that AZAXO, I saw him post on a stream at one point, is a lot of the packs that are given and the drops, those are Twitch controlled. And I've seen people making comments like, well, can't you give every affiliate the ability to give 5 packs? And although we would love it, we would absolutely love to be able to do that for you, AZ Axel pointed out extremely well that it's a Twitch thing. And for them to have to program every affiliate to give out packs would be a very laborious job for them to do. So please don't take it out on OOTP. It's a Twitch kind of programming thing. And I think Kidneys, you are probably aware of that as well.
Well, I think Spore points out the issue with that, where then it wouldn't be like, oh, did an affiliate stream today? It would be, did every single affiliate stream today? Why isn't Kidneys streamed in a month? He's robbing me of packs. I've lost, 200 packs this month because Kidneys didn't stream, right? And
very good point.
Ever make everybody happy. I will say Twitch has historically always been really bad with drops, and like, Out of the Park has done a great job getting drops even from Twitch in the first place as a smaller company. It's really hard. So I will say, like, Twitch really changed the drop program a few years ago. I think it was for the worst, but like, Out of the Park does some really good stuff. And they've been super generous to us as affiliates too. I saw somebody talking about that, like, we were shills for the company in some sense. Like, we don't get paid to do this. It's like kind of a symbiotic relationship, right? They give us packs so we get more viewers and we kind of help promote the game, right? And it all sort of works out. But like, I've said a lot of things on air over the years that probably Out of the Park wasn't too happy about coming out of my mouth. And if you want proof of that, just go back and watch. Like, we say it like it is. I don't think anybody
and it's perfect. It's perfect, right? Kidneys, that we get the ads, we get the Twitch coming in there.
The ads.
It's almost like, Kidneys, how dare you talk about Twitch and how they changed our drops? We're gonna throw ads in.
They're watching. They're cutting me off. It's my music play. I'm at the Oscars, right? They're getting the hook ready off stage to pull me.
Yeah, where they go, you got 5 seconds, 4 seconds. Yes, yeah. It is the Twitch censorship here. We have the ads on. Well, we'll take this little break here, Kidneys, then we'll send you off once the break is done. So hang around. We'll be back in about 2 minutes time for the end of today's stream. All right, we are back, and sometimes, Kidneys, some of the best comments are during the ad breaks. Just you and EVC talking about Taco Bell and your love of Taco Bell, and someone posted, hey, who got the Hyundai ad, and all these other things, and Burger King, and of course I'm in Canada, so I get a lot of Canadian advertisements. And again, we have people from all over the world. We've got, if I'm just looking at my geo location here, we've got 3, 6, 8, 11 different countries watching us: Brazil, New Zealand, Australia, Germany, Belgium, one from Poland. We've got people from all over the world that are kind of tuning in here. So thank you guys for tuning in. And as someone mentioned in the chat, yeah, you can subscribe and avoid ads. And if you have a Prime membership, Amazon Prime, they give you 1 free Prime subscription to any channel. Go give it to Kidneys. Give Kidneys the subscription. He contributes so much to the Hound Report, and his analysis has helped so many people in their perfect leagues and their tournaments. So yeah, if you've got the free Prime subscription, go drop it into the Kidneys channel, because this kid works his butt off. He sleeps a lot. Like, I'll give him that. He sleeps a lot, but he works his butt off for the community. And he's just such an asset to the OOTP community. So thank you so much, Kidneys, for joining the Hawk Report number 5. And for all of you, we've got the contest. It's not 200 packs. It is 2 different winners, 10 packs and 5 packs for the second name drawn. So let me get that loaded up. Let me load up the proper one here. 1 entry, either exclamation ticket or exclamation enter, gets you in to the contest. So we'll let that run a couple minutes. Kidney, any parting words, anything about the cards, anything about OOTP, your league, anything that you kind of want to end off on here?
It's always a really fun set for me. I love the Future Legends. I think even with everything going on and people talking about viewership numbers, I think talent-wise, the future of baseball is so incredibly bright, and we're living in this golden age of star players. And these are people that a lot of them are going to be star players in a few years, and it's so cool to see. Shout out to the chat. You guys were awesome today, as per usual, but some of your comments made me laugh a lot, which I enjoy. That's why I do this. How about you, Laptop Hound, for always running this and kind of reining me in a little bit, which is a hard task for anybody. So I appreciate you. I love doing this. I love being here. It's fun to run through all the cards and everything and talk about Taco Bell and Burger King not getting the rights to a Daft Punk song to make the greatest Super Bowl commercial of all time. Shame on Daft Punk for that. But yeah, it's always good. So.
Well, and Kidneys, I just have to warn you now that I've got a direct line to the elder abuse hotline. So, if it ever becomes a problem, you can expect a knock on your door from Canada.
Dude, all I have to say is I feel old, and then everybody else feels way older, and I win. So that's... I feel real old some days. I can't stay up all night like I used to. That marathon was rough, man.
Yeah, and that, again, that Gen X, Gen Z. So your task for next week is to come up with a little quiz on Zoomer kind of material so that I can embarrass myself. And again, congratulations on your first win in the Card Pack Showdown, 3-1. And like I said, we've got something fun planned for the loser of this showdown once we get up to that 10 pack. So thank you so much, Kidneys. Make sure you enter the contest because you get a chance to win as well. And we'll see you next week. Get some sleep. We'll see you on Discord.
Yeah, I'll be there. I do want to say, you had a list of Wayne's World references I was supposed to respond to today, and I kept realizing you said them like 15 seconds and I was already talking. So I'll give you the last one for today. I will say, party on, Garth, and those will be my final words for today.
Party on, Wayne. Party on. Party on. It's like the baking soda. Oh. What? Read off that first comment there about, getting the Tristan card.
Oh, getting the Tristan card? Wait, what comment? Where am I? On the cheat sheet or in chat?
No, that sheet I sent you with all the quotes there.
Oh, Garth.
The very first one. The very first one.
The one that's Garth, I'm going to be Frank.
That's fine. But can I still be Garth? or the one, Kidneys, we don't want you going out and going to OOTP and shoplifting all these new Future Legend cards.
And what was I supposed to respond? Oh, Garth, marriage is punishment for shoplifting in some countries. That's terrifying.
That is.
If you actually think about that, that's terrifying.
That is. Yeah, we had a few other ones as well, and maybe the one about the cards that you don't like. Like, I mean, some of the cards you didn't like how they were put together. But hey, if you don't like some cards, Kidneys, if you're gonna spew in this. Okay. You got to go watch Wayne's World. Classic movie.
It'll go on my very long list of things to go watch that were made before I was born that I'll probably never watch.
All right. Party on, Wayne.
Party on, guys. I'll see you later, buddy.
Okay, guys. Another 30 seconds in the stream here. 30 seconds to get your entry in. Exclamation ticket, exclamation enter will get you into the contest. Wildcat Bandit. Oof. Mr. Ree, we've got Marcus Amore. We've got CM Bandit. We've got Matt. Almost 100. There we go. We've hit 100 entries here. Going to give you 10 seconds. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Giveaway is closed. All right. We've got 107 entries here. Let's see. Winner number 1. Make sure I get your perfect team username before you leave. You can either put it in the chat, or let me just put whisper here. You can whisper it to me by clicking on my name in Twitch and sending me your perfect team account name there. Good luck, guys. Winner number 1 of 10 packs, standard packs, goes to well, that's just peachy. Congratulations. Well, that's just peachy. First time I've seen that name. I see it in the chat here. So again, put your username in the chat. And if it's the same, then just put same as my Twitch name. Or you can whisper me by clicking on my name way up above where I posted that. And we'll get you those packs, hopefully within 24 to 36 hours. And I don't think your username is Dr. Dynastic, but I will check with you just to make sure. Twitch admin team ghost account. Well, that's just peachy. We'll have to do some investigation on that one. I don't think so. All right, let's see. I'm seeing a lot of suggestions for username here. And let me just check my whispers here. Don't see anything. Oh, there we go. No, I don't think so. Do we have someone trolling here? Rich Grisham. Kidneys, if you're still on and you look in the managers of the Perfect Team universe, is there a username Rich Grisham? I trust Kidneys to verify that for me. Because otherwise, if there's not, we may need to draw another one. Actually, Peachy just sent me a Twitch whisper. That was a joke. I've got his actual username. All right. Thank you, Just Peachy, for winning the 10 packs. Winner of the 5 standard packs is... Hey, Chess Safari. Chess Safari. Big shout out. A viewer of all 36 hours of the Streamathon last week. So there is a late consolation prize there for you, Chess Safari, on winning the 5 packs and being so supportive of not just my channel, but all the affiliate channels out there. Congratulations, Chess Safari. And I believe I know your username if it's the same one that you had from the last time you won from the Streamathon. So congratulations, winning the 5 pack. Heading to the track now to bet on those horses. Well, guys, I will be raiding into an OOTP. I believe there should be someone on that is playing OOTP now. I will raid into it. Party on. Way to go, Garth. Way to go, Wayne. Thank you for your 31-year anniversary of Wayne's World. And as I always end my streams off with, thank you so much for supporting the channel. And it is a time to be kind to others, be kind to yourself, go mow a lawn, go carry some groceries to someone's car, go help someone out, donate some food to the food bank, whatever you can do. It is a great day for baseball, virtual or real life. So thank you to Paul Sporer, thank you to Dishnet, thank you to the card art designer, Daniel, for putting together such a great set today. This has been the Hawk episode number 5. I am back on Monday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with my regular content. We'll see you guys then. I'll set up a raid. Don't go anywhere. We'll take you to another OOTP streamer. Have a wonderful day, wonderful weekend. Go get some of those future legend cards. We'll see you next episode.